Welcome back to Cashew Time. I built a drill that works in vanilla Minecraft. Even better, I built 4 of them, and the build looks pretty nice. But why did I do this? Well, to explain, I'll take you way back. On Thursday, May 19th, 2022, Minecraft 1.18, I started this world and named it after something very dear to me. I instantly decided that I would collect each of the first items I got to the best of my ability. I would keep track of the first time I got any item, like a block of wood, and I would keep all of these firsts in a separate place. To this day, I still have most of these first items and eventually plan to make a museum out of them. And what could possibly motivate me to do this incredibly challenging task? Well, I like to call it having that dog in me. But most people just call it autism. Now, despite my incredible attention to detail, there is one particular block that is missing from that historical collection, and that's cobblestone. In the first few minutes of entering my world, I accidentally crafted a stone pickaxe out of the first cobblestone I got, so I can never actually get it back. But I can compensate for that void in my heart with something fantastic, and that something is a fancy cobblestone farm. So how did I make this working drill in Minecraft? With an exploit and a personal definition, of course. First, I'll explain the definition. In order for me to consider something a drill, I'm going to say that it has to be able to break stone, move stone around, and have blades on it. That sounds close enough, right? Now about the exploit. Minecraft is a game with several exploits that are kinda normal to use. For instance, getting onto the roof of the nether or breaking bedrock with machines are pretty normal things to do in Minecraft. I've done both already, but what I'm interested in is actually duplicating TNT. This exploit has been around for a long time, and Mojang even tried to remove it a few times, but always got negative feedback, so they left it in. It's not exactly cheating when it is considered a normal part of the game now. Anyways, the idea will be to make machines that dupe TNT and break stone, then move it around, all while actually looking like a drill. And to make things interesting, let's get 1 million cobblestone in honor of that one block lost forever. I also decided I would try to give the drill an industrial look because, as Jack Harlow once said, industry baby. But as usual, there's always a little busy work that comes first. The drills I designed would need copper, which I had lots of already, but I needed wax to stop them from oxidizing. That's why I got a bunch of bees together and made this little apiary area. Bees are some of the more cute mobs in Minecraft, which I like to treat humanely, and that's a rare thing. Now, remember how I mentioned a future museum earlier? Well, I've decided where it's going. After a few months, I managed to completely clear out the ancient city where I had my only death end. This felt like the perfect place to make a museum. To my surprise, it's actually 2 ancient cities that happened to merge into one. Before I built the drill, I spent a lot of time here clearing out structures that looked ugly and making space for more things. But given the time needed to make this museum, I'll have to make the whole thing in another video. For now, I can only make small steps in its progress. Now, with these few things out of the way, it's time for the main course. Where would the drill go? Well, I would need to put it in a deep pit, and luckily for me, I had been digging a pit since the first week I made this world. All I had to do was break the grass cover and expose it to the sky.
Like, whoa. Dude, it's like an Elytra death course. Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Dude, I want to go through this on shrooms.
And then started building the small wall, which would mark the edge of the pit. I thought it would be nice to have this here just to prevent oblivious players from falling to their death. I also covered the gap in the wall from the large artificial underground I had dug out, just to keep the look of a deep pit. From here, I began building some of the frame of the drill design, just to make sure I could align everything properly. Then started building all 4 of the drills from the bottom up. The tips of each of the drills had a narrow opening where cobblestone being produced by the farm would flow out of. There are surely easier ways to move the cobblestone around, but this felt the most thematically appropriate. With the drill tips in place, I added the glass piping which would guide the cobblestone out into the tip, and then worked to add more detail to this part of the drills. The drills also included some weird items for cosmetic effect, like wither skeleton skulls just to flex, campfires to make them look like steam engine machines, and anvils for cosmetic depth. Scattered here and there were also some trapdoors and lots of stairs. They eventually reached the cobblestone generation chambers, which would each be marked by a dirt block floor. On this dirt, cobblestone from the chambers would be funneled into a hole using water, and then goes down the glass pipe mentioned earlier. Then I had to construct the actual cobblestone generators. They use waterlogged leaves and lava source blocks to make cobblestone blocks between them every few game ticks or so. This clever cobblestone farm was designed by Shulkercraft, and you can find their video on it in the description below. Their farm design also included some redstone components to use TNT, which would break the cobblestone with perfect timing. Plus, I also made some adjustments myself so I can connect them all and turn on redstone lamps at the same time. After finishing the redstone components, I finished up the frame which held the drills together, and finally put a lid on the drills to prevent tampering. At that point, I realized I should probably give the farm a test run. There are pretty much 3 possible outcomes here. I flick this lever and nothing happens. I flick this lever and all the farms, kill themselves by exploding and causing a lot of damage. Or 3, it works as it's supposed to. I'm really rooting for option 3 here. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm hearing explosions, but we should be seeing some cobblestone jump out from the bottom if they're working. Oh, is it like gigatons of cobblestone? Oh, it is gigatons of cobblestone. It's working. The farm's working. And you believe it. The farm worked first try. Now the rest of the drill build was going to be purely cosmetic. Except for the storage, of course. I had to make a quick mud farm. Special thanks to Ilmango for the design. But then I was able to get to work on some major renovations. I had designed these really nice stairways out of mud bricks, and they allowed the peasants of the server, who didn't have Elytra, to actually reach the on switch. Being the big symmetry enjoyer that I am, I made these stairs symmetrical and then also added them to all 4 sides of the farm. By that point, the farm was looking pretty bulked up. From there, I made sure to add a little bit of railing to the central part of the farm, again so nobody plummets to their death unless they want to. I added a little bit of height to the build to give it the look of a pyramid, and also changed the beacon color to black just to give the environment that delicious taste of smog. But I did have more plans for some beacons. I designed these little shacks in the corner of the build that would guide a beacon for each corner. This would allow me to cover the entire farm and way more, and a resistance potion effect, on top of the haste that the center already provided. And just to be safe, I did dig to the bottom of the world to place each of these 4 beacons. At this point, I was feeling really good about this project. I took a time lapse of me watching the sky just to show how awesome this thing looks. The beacons don't show up well in replay, so it just looks a little bit off here. But my god, this is amazing. But somehow, I wasn't finished yet. Remember how the cobblestone would just land on the ground when the farm was on? Well, I had to make some ice paths, the easy part, but then make a rapid shulker sorter, the hard part, to move the cobblestone where I wanted it. Normally you sort things in Minecraft with hoppers, but since a hopper can only move 2.5 items per second, and the farm would be producing dozens of cobblestone per second, we needed this advanced shulker sorter, which is a design from a channel called jCraft, which I modified a bit. Surprisingly, cakes are a huge part of this contraption, but all it really does is sort 10 items a second into 4 shulkers each. The last part of the storage project was making a pipe that would shoot the filled shulkers to the surface where I would keep them all. This took some classic dispenser and water source trickery with kelp. I also decided to build an indicator to tell me when the storage was low on shulkers. But with the pipe done, I decided that I would need to make a little storage building at the surface. And this is what I came up with. A nice little medieval shack that looked so good, I built it twice. The second one is just for symmetry, and I'll use it later. But this was a fun little build to express some of my creativity. As you can see from the inside, it is indeed meant for storage. And through the pipes, all the shulkers filled with cobblestone will end up here. In the attic, I have some storage of backup shulkers for when I need to throw in some more empty ones for the farm to fill up with cobblestone. Keeping in theme with cobblestone, I decided to make them all light gray. I set up a lamp to turn on whenever the sorter got low on those empty shulker boxes, and I made this opening so I could throw them down there from here. It also let me reach the sorter really fast if I ever needed to. With everything in place, I let the farm run for a good few hours. I calculated that it actually made more than 130,000 cobblestone per hour. Because of that, I was able to get that 1 million goal really easily. The storage was set up to hold about 3 million anyway. On average, it was making more than a stack of cobblestone every 2 seconds. And mind you, this was actually less than half the theoretical rate it was supposed to make. But given the sheer volume of cobblestone that I was getting, I'm not really bothered by that. So I did it. I got a working drill in vanilla Minecraft and got 1 million cobblestone from using it. Plus, got a nice pit that I can fly around in, which lets me reach my diamond mine really fast. But I had a little more adventure left in me. You see, the 1.20 update just released, and I was eager to find some of that new stuff. Namely the armor trims. There's 16 of them total, each with a distinct look and most found in a unique place. To start off, I visited the ancient city. I had known that armor trims would spawn in these chests in 1.20, so I never opened them until now. After looting all those and another ancient city, I got the ward and silence trims. Next up, I hit up the ocean monuments, of which I've already found dozens, and killed maybe 15 elder guardians until I got the tide trim. A shipwreck near my base had the coast trim, and then I went out to all the pillager outposts and woodland mansions, which got me the Vex and Sentry trims. I moved on to the Nether, where I got the Snout trim at a bastion, and then went through a dozen or so fortresses to find a Rib trim, getting dozens of horse armors on the way. And on to the inn stuff, I got the Eye trim at a stronghold, then moved into the inn cities, where I got the Spire trim. I moved on to the Jungle temple, which got me the Wild trim, then I had to explore a good bit to find a Desert temple, the only one in the world, and got the Doom trim there. I also found 2 camels on the way there. Last of all, there were 4 trims that only spawned in trail ruins, a new structure to 1.20. I got to work digging in one of these that I had recently found, and after I couldn't find another one, I caved in and used a seed map to find another, where I was able to get all 4. This includes the Wayfinder, Razor, Shaper, and Host trims, and with that, I had them all. Now, the final step in displaying all this hard work was getting the diamonds I needed to replicate them and put them on armor. But instead of showing you me mining diamonds for hours, this is me fixing the flat part of North Island, because it just wouldn't be a Cashew time video without some terraforming. And once I got those diamonds, my work was done. I had made all the variants of armor trims and pasted them onto sets of diamond armor. I placed them in a glorious display in front of the drill that took me months to build. And so this adventure comes to a close, but I've got more plans in mind for the new 1.20 items, namely the cherry wood for my next video. Make sure you subscribe so you can see when it comes out. Until then, thanks for watching, leave a like and comment, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
So you can't connect then.
Oh, man, dog. Guess who's in? Guess who's in?
It's on a new
Guess
server.
who's in?
It saved your position from like 8 months
Guess who's
ago.
in?
You're
Guess
in.
who's? Oh, look
Oh.
at this!
Uh,
Wait, can I make the whole map upside down, please? Please. All right. Goodbye.